This video dives into the enigmatic nature of sexual energy, its rarity and true mastery, its deep mysteries as both a creative and destructive force, and its inherent dangers when left unchecked. From ancient tantra practices to modern psychoanalytic theories, from occult rituals to the pitfalls of modern pornography, we will examine how sexual energy shapes human destiny in ways both sublime and terrifying. Sexual energy isn't just about sex. This is about power, creation, destruction, transformation, the very essence of life. Every civilization, religion, and mystical tradition has touched upon this energy, usually cloaked in metaphor or layered in secrecy. Why? Because to speak plainly of this energy is to open a gateway to freedom. And with freedom comes danger. In this writing, we will explore why sexual energy is rare, why it is so deeply mysterious, and how it becomes dangerous, both in its oppression and in its overindulgence. We'll also discuss how men who harness and transmute this energy become magnetic, visionary, and spiritually untouchable. Sexual energy in its raw, retained form is a rare phenomenon today, not because humans lack desire, but because most are ruled by it. Modern culture encourages men to spill their seed at the slightest impulse. Porn, casual sex, and meaningless gratification have become the norm. This constant draining reduces sexual energy to mere animalistic lust, a shadow of its divine potential. But when a man chooses to retain, to say no to the constant pressure release, he becomes different. His energy doesn't leak away. It builds. It surges through his body, saturating his voice, sharpening his gaze, expanding his presence. Such a man is rare. He walks differently, talks differently, thinks differently, because he has something others do not, an inner reservoir of life force. In a room full of drained men, a man charged with sexual energy is like a lion among sheep. Others feel his presence. Women sense him even before he speaks. Men either admire or envy him. His very aura becomes uncommon. Most never reach this level of energy because it requires radical self-control. It means abstaining from the instant dopamine hits and choosing long-term vitality instead. In the ancient world, the sages, warriors, and mystics knew this. Retaining one's sexual energy was a foundation of spiritual ascent, mental clarity, and personal magnetism. They called it virya in Sanskrit, not just semen, but heroic energy. Today, that rarity has become even rarer. In a culture of indulgence, the man who holds a seed becomes a revolutionary. Why is sexual energy so mysterious? Because unlike physical strength or intellectual prowess, sexual energy moves in subtle, often invisible ways. It cannot be fully measured or understood through science alone. It expresses itself through attraction, intuition, creativity, and even telepathic connection. It is the only form of energy that bridges the gap between the physical and the spiritual. It begins in the loins, yes, but as it is transmuted, it rises, awakening chakras, enhancing emotional intelligence, deepening the voice, refining the mind. When controlled and consciously directed, sexual energy becomes the fuel for creative genius, spiritual awakening, magnetic charisma, unshakable confidence, unmatched vitality, artists, prophets, athletes, and kings. Those who master their sexual energy stood apart. They access inspiration from a higher realm. Many of them didn't even speak of it because the world wouldn't understand. Even in relationships, sexual energy is mysterious. A man full of energy doesn't need to chase women. He draws them in. His very presence becomes suggestive of power and depth. He doesn't try to seduce. He simply is seductive because of the life force vibrating in him. Women are energetically attuned. They pick up on subtle signals, body language, tone, eye contact, vibe. A man with transmuted sexual energy doesn't need words. His frequency does the talking, and it often speaks louder than 1,000 conversations. This is why people say, she felt something about him. They can't explain it. They just know they're drawn to him. It's not mystery for mystery's sake. It's mystery born from a deeper source. The inner sanctum of energy that very few have accessed. The dangerous power of sexual energy. Make no mistake, sexual energy is dangerous. Like fire, it can warm your home or burn it down. Like electricity, it can power a city or electrocute you. Sexual energy is the same. In its pure form, it is neutral, but how you use it determines whether it builds or destroys. Most people fear its power, so they repress it, but repression leads to perversion, shame, and psychological dysfunction. On the other hand, indulgence without control leads to addiction, weakness, and spiritual decay. Danger arises when sexual energy is misunderstood. Dangerous to the ego. Harnessing sexual energy requires the death of the shallow self. It demands humility, discipline, and solitude. It forces a man to confront his own shadows, lust, greed, need for validation. Not everyone is ready for that. Many run away. That's the danger. You might meet your true self, and it will terrify you. Dangerous to society's structure. A man who doesn't bow to lust cannot be controlled. You can't manipulate him with sex, media, or fame. He is sovereign. He thinks clearly. He's not led by his urges. Such men have always been threats to the system, because they cannot be bought or broken. Dangerous to weak relationships. When you retain your energy, your standards rise. You no longer tolerate shallow conversations or dead-end connections. Your presence becomes so strong, it exposes the weaknesses in others. People may fear or resent you, so will feel intimidated without knowing why. Dangerous to the undisciplined man. Sexual energy is powerful. If you try to retain it without structure, you may be overwhelmed. Many men relapse not because they are weak, but because they don't yet have a container for the energy. Without purpose, discipline, and a spiritual practice, the energy turns chaotic. This is why ancient traditions taught celibacy within a context: meditation, service, devotion, physical training. Otherwise, the energy becomes destructive. The energy is never a problem. The lack of understanding is. What happens when you learn to channel sexual energy? You become an alchemist. You turn base desire into golden focus. You elevate carnal energy into cosmic insight. Instead of ejaculation, you experience elevation. Instead of pleasure, you cultivate power. This process is called transmutation. It means redirecting your sexual urges into higher pursuits, building a business, writing a book, transforming your body, deepening your spirituality. You stop chasing external stimulation and begin creating from within. Every urge becomes fuel. Every temptation becomes a test. Every battle becomes a sharpening of will. You grow sharper. Your mind clears. Your energy becomes electric. You no longer need external validation. You walk into rooms and command them without a word. This is a man every culture once revered. The monk warrior, the celibate king, the prophet in the desert. Not weak, not repressed, but consecrated. Filled with fire, but not consumed by it. In today's world, such a man is feared and envied, because while others are slaves to lust, he is master of his destiny. Subscribe to this channel and like the video. Join our Telegram channel from the link below, where you meet like-minded people. Women crave depth, not just looks. They are drawn to mystery, not just charm. A man filled with sexual energy, but who doesn't flaunt it becomes an enigma. He is not desperate. He is not impressed. He is complete. His eyes don't wander. His heart is anchored. His soul radiates calm. When you retain, your body changes. Your skin glows. Your voice deepens. Your gaze becomes piercing. Your posture straightens. Your energy becomes undeniable. Women notice it before you say a word. They sense a difference. You don't chase them. You attract them. And not just sexually. They feel safe, challenged, and intrigued all at once. Men like this have always been rare. They were the sages, the leaders, the revolutionaries. They didn't need to prove themselves. They simply were present. Fully, deeply, unshakably. This is what happens when sexual energy is refined. You become magnetic. But more than that, you become dangerous. Not because you're harmful, but because you are free. And freedom always shakes the status quo. Guard the flame. Sexual energy is not something to be feared or worshipped. It is to be understood, respected, and mastered. In its raw form, it is rare. In its movement, it is mysterious. In its misuse, it is dangerous. But in its mastery, it is divine. You do not need to run from your urges. You must rise above them. You do not need to fear your fire. You must learn to wield it. The man who does this becomes untouchable, not because he is perfect, but because he is aligned. Your energy is sacred. Guard it. Transmute it. Build with it. Let it shape you into something the world has not seen in centuries. A man who lives from the inside out. Such a man is not only rare. He is not only mysterious. He is dangerous to everything false, and therefore indispensable to everything true. This is the way of the awakened. This is the path of the retainer. This is the secret behind the eyes that cannot be ignored. Let your energy rise. Let your purpose burn. Let your legacy begin.